Alright, here we are. My Louisiana Sky, Chapter 12. And we had an absolute mind-blowing question at the end of Chapter 11. We just finished off with, what in the world does Tiger have to choose here? She is given the option to go live with her sophisticated, real cool Aunt Dora Kay in Baton Rouge. Big city living, or stay home with Mama and Daddy and try to take care of the house. What would you choose if you were Tiger? Let's read on into Chapter 12 and find out what Tiger has to say about this proposal. Exciting stuff here. Chapter 12, here we go. All I could think about on the ride home from Alec was living with Aunt Dora Kay. A different school would give me a chance to make new friends. No one in Baton Rouge knew about Mama and Daddy. Well, what's Baton Rouge like? I asked. Oh, Tiger, you'll love it. The stores put Alexandria's to shame. And the Louisiana State University is near my apartment. We could get tickets to a football game. You haven't seen football till you've seen the Fighting Tigers play. I've never seen any football game. Basketball and baseball were the only sports played in Seder. Aunt Dora Kay gazed out the window as she drove along the highway. Her voice sounded dreamy when she spoke of Baton Rouge. For the first time, I realized she didn't think of Seder as her hometown. She must have traded Seder in for the excitement of Baton Rouge a long time ago. Well, my apartment is a few minutes from downtown. She took a deep breath and she said, I'll take you to the Capitol and introduce you to my boss, Uncle Earl. Uncle Earl was a nickname for Governor Earl K. Long. Aunt Dora Kay continued, Baton Rouge has beautiful parks. Maybe we can picnic at some of them. She made everything sound like an adventure, but one thing weighed heavy on my mind. But what about Mama and Daddy? Why, they aren't going to want me to leave them. Aunt Dora Kay glanced in the rearview mirror as she tapped her red fingernails on the steering wheel. You leave that one to me. But how will you convince them? She turned and drove over the railroad tracks, passing by my school. Well, for one thing, Tiger, you live with me, you could go to a private school. Doesn't that cost a lot of money? I swallowed, hoping my question didn't sound dumb. She patted my head with quick, gentle taps. You don't need to worry about that. I have friends in the right places. This isn't a good time to tell your Mama, though. We need to wait until she gets back on her feet. One step at a time, I always say. Meanwhile, you stay busy working at that nursery, and I'm going to send Magnolia down there to help you out. Who? Magnolia, my colored maid. She'll be hard to convince, but maybe if she knows it's only for the summer. By then, your Mama should be back to the norm. She glanced my way. Her regular self. I have an idea. How would you like to go back to Baton Rouge with me to meet Magnolia? You could stay a couple days and get a taste of your new life. My new life. I love the sound of those words. The guilt faded my joy. But what about Mama? Well, Miss Eula can look on here on the day, she said, and your daddy's home at night. I thought about Miss Eula's messy house and how Granny must be rolling in her grave. But there was nothing in the world I wanted more than to visit Aunt Dora Kay in Baton Rouge. If you come, Aunt Dora Kay said, I'll show you the town. She smiled real big. I bet if the Gleam toothpaste people caught a glimpse of her pearly white teeth, they'd hired her right there on the spot to do a commercial. I smiled back, running my tongue over my front teeth, checking for popcorn kernels. She poked me gently in the ribs. You stick with me, kid. I'll show you the ropes. She turned onto the winding path leading to our house and stopped the car in front of the mailbox. Now be a dear and hop out and get the mail. Everything seemed to be great for Aunt Dora Kay when she had a mission. She bounced into our house so fast she nearly tripped over Mama, who was laying on the floor wearing the same old gown, her head resting on her pillow as she watched television with sad eyes. I held my breath as Aunt Dora Kay made her announcement. Well, guess what, Corina? What? Mama managed to ask, keeping her eyes on the TV. You're going to have a visitor. My cleaning lady, Magnolia's coming down here to take care of you. Now, won't that be nice? Mama didn't say a word. She'll treat you like a queen. She'll cook you dinner, clean the house, wash the clothes. Mama just stared at the set. And here's the best part. Tiger is going with me to pick her up. Mama's arms came to life, and she darted toward mine. I looked at the floor. Are you coming back? She asked. I swallowed. Of course, Mama. I'm only going for a couple days. Aunt Dora Kay brushed her hands together. I'm going to call Miss Eula to look in on you. And I need to call Otis's wife. What's her name again? Willie Mae, I said. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to call old Willie Mae to see if she knows a place where Magnolia can stay in the colored quarters. Then I'm going to go down and call Miss Eula. Gracious, I hope that woman doesn't keep me on the phone yakking with her nonsense. Aunt Dora Kay seemed to be talking to herself more than to us as she walked toward the kitchen. She was probably already making a list in her head. I knelt next to Mama and placed my hand on her greasy hair. Mama, you know what I'd like to do before I leave with Aunt Dora Kay? I'd like to wash your hair. Would you let me? Uh-huh, she mumbled in her daze. The sun is shining so pretty today. We could wash it outside in the yard. I held out my hand and she slipped hers into mine. Finally, she stood all wobbly-legged. Outside, Mama sat in a chair with a washcloth covering her eyes. I warmed some well water over the stove before pouring it over her head. The sun beat down on us as I worked the shampoo through her tangled hair. While white suds formed, I remembered something Brother David said about doing good deeds for the right reason. I wondered if I was washing Mama's hair because I wanted to do something good for her, or if I was trying to feel less guilty about desperately wanting to leave Sada. As I finished rinsing her hair with vinegar, Aunt Dora Kay came up to us. It's all taken care of. Miss Eula will come by after Lonnie gets off work. She said she'd be tickled pink to stay as long as she could watch her soap opera. Something about a wedding. Aunt Dora Kay rolled her eyes. And Willie Mae said there's a widow woman next door to them with a spare room. Dora Kay looked down at Mama to see if anything, seeing her foot for the first time this afternoon. And now here's Corina with squeaky clean hair. Didn't everything work out just fine? Aunt Dora Kay talked as if rinsing the soap off Mama made everything perfect. I wrapped a towel around Mama's head, turban style. Mama, would you like to go take a bath now? Mama shook her head. Nuh-uh. Dora Kay winked at me. One step at a time, Tiger. One step at a time. All right, into chapter 12 there. What step would you be taking right now? If you were Tiger, would you be excited about going to live in a big city? I sure don't know. Tiger's definitely lived in the country her entire life. Seder is such a small town, and going to live in the big city, I think that almost might be, could you see it as one of those, hey, the grass is always greener on the other side? You never know. How do you think Tiger would function in the big city? Would she want to go live the big city life like the rest of those movie stars and her Aunt Dora Kay? She definitely looks up to those people, like Audrey Hepburn that she saw in the movies and Marlon Brando. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and close this chapter out and move on to chapter 13. So I'm going to go ahead and say good day, good afternoon, good night, whatever this is for you. Thank you so much for listening to me on YouTube. Have a blessed day.